Şimdi size sormak istiyorum. Şöyle bir proje var, Mezze Project diye bir şey var. Orada aşçı olacağım. 4 tane meze yapmam lazım. Dedim işte arkadaşlarıma sorsam neler olabilir. Dedim işte size sorsam herhalde harika bir şey çıkar. O yüzden soruyorum neler olabilir?
Çok kısa bir meze anlatabilirim sana. Patlıcanla yapılan. Biz ona çıltık diyoruz. Yapılan o mezeye çıltık diyoruz. Kızartırsınız. Patlıcanları bir tabağa düzersiniz. Ayrıca da sivri biber kızartıp onu da düzersiniz üstüne. Bir ayrı kapta da bol domates rendesi ve küçük küçük doğranmış sarımsak, karabiber, tuz ekleyip hatta biraz şeker de olabilir. Bir güzel onu kaynatırsınız. Çok kurutmayın sosu. Hafif sulu kalsın. Onu patlıcanın üstüne dökersiniz. Hatta biz çoğu kez üstüne biraz da sirke dökeriz. Daha lezzetli olur. Sosun en üstüne.
Çok sirkeyi sevdiğim
Evet,
için.
sirkeyi o çok sever. Yani çoğu kez sirkede ikram. Yani çok lezzetli bir meze oluyor bu.
Hoş geldin.
Hoş bulduk.
Tek buluşmak üzere.
Evet.
Yabani pırasanın köküyle çıltık yapıp bu masada yemeğin tekrar güzelliğe, sevgiye, barışa kadeh kaldırmak.
İyile.
Umuduyla, heyecanıyla.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mezze Project YouTube channel. I'm Alex, and today we're going to be making a classic meze with aubergine as the main ingredient. It's an easy meze to make, and actually I think it's sort of one of the classic complements to raka. They go together really well. It's a very popular meze. It usually comes in a form that's called shakshuka. It's a nice sounding name, but I'm going to be making the Armenian version, which, if I'm not mistaken, is called Çıltık, which an Armenian word that means edepsiz in Turkish, which means coy or flirty. So it's sort of suitable for the dish we're going to be making. What we have to do first is cut this guy down. So we're going to cut the eggplant diagonally across like this. I'll show you. Just like this. Nice and easy. Taking it. There we go. Now, what you need to do with eggplant, which is a nightshade vegetable, is you need to throw a little salt on top of these slices and then soak them in water, salty water, for about half an hour, they say. Just to get out all those toxins that are naturally in the vegetable. And I think it's something that you have to do before you fry, because if you don't do that, you're going to get a very sort of scorched, dark slice, right? So that I've already done. So as I'll show you right now, here we have what it will look like. Salted and soaked in water, ready to go. What we have to do is get the ingredients ready for the sauce. So this is sort of a classic tomato-based sauce. I'm going to be using these cherry tomatoes with, of course, an onion as the base. Okay, so we have our tomatoes, onion, and another ingredient for this dish, classic ingredient, is garlic. But what I want to use in this dish, this is my radical move, I want to use this guy here. And this is something I collected just a couple days ago on Burgazada, one of the Princess Islands in Istanbul, where I live. This is a wild leek. And it's also very much like garlic, and if I'm not mistaken, this is called elephant garlic. It grows naturally all around the island, so in the winter you can find it, and I found this one at the base of an old plane tree, not far from the mosque, from the Jami. There's a whole big patch of it right there, very close to the pier. So there's a lot you can find on Burgazada, really. Stuff like this, potato leeks, like the other meze I used fennel, wild fennel, tons and tons of plums on the island as well, arbutus, which is what they call koja yemiş, wild strawberries also are lovely on Burgazada. So there are really loads of different fruit and vegetable that we love to just find naturally on the island and try to use them in our dishes. So this is what we're using for garlic. A little bit of parsley as well will go into the dish. So let me first start by chopping up this onion. Like this. Meanwhile, I want to get my stovetop going, right? We'll get this going, a little olive oil. So there we have our onion, finely diced. Then, stovetop, pan, pot. Okay, so now a little olive oil, fresh olive oil in the pot. Now generally when you're making something like this, it's good to always use fresh ingredients. So like I said, in the summer the tomatoes are beautiful. Try to do the dish in the summer to get really nice tomatoes. This of course is super fresh, something I pulled right out of the ground a couple days ago. Forgot to mention green pepper, also key ingredient to this dish. So we're going to be chopping this stuff up very thinly, tossing it into this pot. Once we get some kızgın yağ, yes, that's pretty hot, almost too hot. So here we go. How can I do this? Whoop, elevate the boat. Catch these, ooh, running away from me now. Let's see. Something to stir this with. This dump. Turn that down a bit. Yep, that's where we go. So you just want to stir that up, get these guys smelling lovely, get them all going, ooh. There's music to my ears. Okay, at this point, throw in a classic ingredient, a little hot pepper flakes, pul biber they call it. Just a touch of that. A touch of pepper as well. I tend to put the salt in towards the end because they say the salt, you'll lose a lot of the salt in the cooking, so remember to put the salt in towards the end, or so they tell me. Meanwhile, you want to pick up the paste now. Green pepper, sivri biber, a nice long one, look at that. We're just going to, whoop, lost a tomato. All right, here we go. Now be careful, because these guys can get super hot, right? You get up to maybe about here, and suddenly it's extremely hot. So you want to maybe do something sort of edepsiz, let's say, and just taste it like that. Don't worry, you're going to put it in there. Everything's going to be burnt off, cooked down. No fear when you're doing this sort of stuff. So, now this is a meze. As I said, it's a really common meze. So it's a meze you're going to get in a lot of the mehanes. Those are the tavernas. And where I live on Burgazada, there's quite a mehane culture. So it's a meze that you get, sort of like a standard meze that you're always going to see as an option. Okay, so yes, you want to get the onion cooked down a bit before you proceed with the green pepper. Chuck those in there. And I think at this point it's time for me to introduce the powerhouse of this meze, which is going to be my potato leek. Right? These are pretty awesome because they're totally fresh, naturally grown. They're on all of the islands. A friend of mine recently told me when we were out picking the other day, she said that not too long ago there were some fishermen who went out to one of the smaller islands, Sivriada, and they found that these guys were all over the island, everywhere. Now it's getting hot, so I might want to take that off for a second, let it breathe, before I start on with the tomatoes. I like to use cherry tomatoes, but really anything will do. This is going to be sort of the main part of the sauce. There we go. Now we're just going to have to, again, put this back on the heat. And there we go. Nice. Some time. Meanwhile, we're going to be getting our pan ready here for, all right, so we put a little oil in the pan, right? A bit more, just to be on the safe side, right? Heat that up, because what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to frying up these guys, right? Sauce is going well, yes. Now, if you look at the sauce and see, it's a little dry, chuck in a few more tomatoes, right? Because you want actually to have a sauce that's, you want a soupy sauce, a saucy sauce, right? So be prepared with some extra tomatoes. I can do it right now, just on the sly, come through, chuck, chuck, chuck. I got one cut up. We're just gonna go right back in, chuck these in, just to keep our sauce juicy and saucy, right? Stir that up. There we go. Wing that around. The bomba, this is the test. We throw that in. Is it dancing? Yes, it is. Right, here we go. So take these guys, hope they're dry, hope they're ready. And just give a bismillah. And there we go. Chuck them in there. Boom, boom, boom. Ouch, watch out for the oil, it's hot. Okay, keep an eye on the sauce at the same time, stirring. All right, and like I said, the parsley, you want to put the parsley into the sauce a little bit later, right? About now is a good time, I think. And for me, just got stabbed by that guy. For me, I like to put some of the fresh greens in later into a sauce like this. Let's check our aubergine, our eggplant. Okay, our sauce is looking good. Just about ready to flip our aubergine, our eggplant. These guys now are looking really good because they're starting to get kind of juicy and, cilveli, really starting to freshen up. That's what we like. You want to see them kind of juicy, but then at the same time with a nice crispy seared surface. Let's go back to our sauce. Sauce could be a little better, it could be a little saucier, but I think we'll be all right for this time around. Bit more, there. And like I said, at the end, towards the end, a little bit of salt. And of course you want to keep tasting. It's going to be, important to taste your sauce as you go. But I haven't put any salt in, so let's just chuck a bit of salt in there, whoop, like that. Final stir. And I think we're ready. Oh yes, nice and juicy. Just what we want. Looks like it's going to be a fairly decent çıltık, right? That's the name of the dish. I guess you could call it sort of fried aubergine, right, with a tomato sauce. And of course with my special added touch, which is the wild leek, right? That's the garlic, and I hope that's going to give it a real nice punch, that extra punch. So these guys look ready. I'm going to turn them off too. Give them a final shake. Just for the shake's sake. And we need a serving platter, right? Nice platter to put these out on. That'll do. One more shake. Mighty fine. Leziz. Delicious. Yeah. And I think the lucky one is always the one with that bit of parsley, right, that I put in to see the oil was hot. The dancing bit of parsley. And it's really a fun and easy meze to do. You just have to slice up the aubergine, make a quick sauce on the side, put them out on a nice plate like this, and adorn with the sauce. There we go. Yeah, I could have made a bit more sauce, huh? But I think it's just about right. Beautiful colors. Smells amazing. I know you can't smell it, but lovely. Now, I have to admit, I'm hardly a meze master, and I know that the people out there And some of those meyhanes on the island or around here in Beyoğlu, they make a gorgeous version of this. Parsley on top. There you go. So thanks very much again for coming to the Mezze Project, checking us out on the Mezze Project YouTube channel. Hope you subscribe. Bye-bye!